Good morning, everyone. Before we will start our lesson for today, we will have first our prayer.
Let us pray.
Dear God, I praise you and I thank you for this wonderful day. Grant me the grace to understand our lesson for today. Through whatever media or modality may it be, and bless me so that I may appreciate this grace of being able to study despite of the challenges we are facing because of this pandemic. Make me realize the value of education and the beauty of learning so that each day I will be more motivated to do my responsibility as a student. Bless our classmates that they too may see your goodness in everything and see this time as an opportunity to show our love to our parents by studying well. Bless our teachers so that they will become more inspired to teach us and see this time as an opportunity to show compassion in their chosen profession. And lastly, our parents so that they may become resilient, especially during these trying times. This we ask in your most holy name. Amen.
Hello. Good morning. Blessings of grace and peace be with you today and every day.
Reminders on health protocols. First, remember to observe health protocols at all times. Second, don't forget the basics of good hygiene. Third, regularly and thoroughly clean your hands with an alcohol-based hand rub or wash them with soap and water. Next, do not forget to wear mask and face shield. And remember, prevention is better than cure.
We will now begin our discussion. Determine whether the function is one-to-one or not. I will show to you a mapping diagram. Look and guess whether the given is a one-to-one function or not. Given the mapping diagram, we have the values of domain negative 2, 4, 8, 13, and the values of range 0, 5, 12, and 18. As we can see, every x, y is now paired for exactly one y values. There is no double. So this is one-to-one function. Next, in the mapping diagram for letter B, we have the domain negative 2, 4, 8, and 13. And range, we have 5, 12, and 18. As we can observe that the 4 and 8 paired only one y value. 12 paired to two x values, the 4 and 8. This is not one-to-one function.
At the end of our lesson, you must be able to first, determine whether the function is one-to-one or not. Second, identify whether the given relation represents a a function or not. And third, represents real-life situations using one-to-one functions. And now, let's proceed to our first activity. Identify whether the given situation represents one-to-one function. Justify your answer. Number 1. The relation pairing the LRN to students. Number 2. The relation pairing a real number to its square. For number 1, the LRN of the students. One LRN is for one student. So, number 1 represent one-to-one function. For number 2, the relation pairing a real number to its square. For example, the number 4. That number 4 will become the input. 2 squared. 2 times 2 equals 4. Is there any number that have the input that the result is 4? Yes, there is. And that is negative 2 squared. Negative 2 times negative 2 is equal to 4. The result is still 4. We have 2 inputs, but the same output. This relation is not one-to-one function. It is a function, but it is not one-to-one. Again, for number 1, the relation pairing the LRN to students is a one-to-one function because one LRN is for one student only. And for number 2, the relation pairing a real number to its square is a function. The relation is a function, but it is not one-to-one because 2 inputs but the same output. And now, let's have a deeper discussion of our topic, one-to-one functions. What is one-to-one function? The function f is one-to-one if for any x sub 1, x sub 2 in the domain of f, then f of x sub 1 is not equal to f of x sub 2. That is, the same y value is never paired with 2 different x values. Example in determining whether a function is one-to-one. For the following function, the domain represents the age of 5 males and the range represents their HDL, or good cholesterol milligram per deciliter.
HDL stands for high density lipoprotein, or called as good cholesterol. It absorbs cholesterol and carries it back to the liver. The liver then flushes it from the body. High levels of HDL cholesterol can lower your risk for heart disease and stroke. mg for milligrams, dl for deciliter. In addition to HDL, or high-density lipoprotein or good cholesterol, High levels of HDL cholesterol can lower your risk for heart disease and stroke. Heart disease is one of the chronic diseases, and to prevent heart disease and stroke, adults should eat more plant-based foods such as vegetables, fruits, nuts, and whole grains, and choose fish. Minimize processed meat and sweetened drinks. And now, let's go back to our example. The domain represents the age of 5 males and the range represents HDL. What are the value for the domain? We have 38, 42, 46, 55, and 61. And for the value of range, we have 57, 54, 34, and 38. 38 is paired to 57. 42 is paired to 54. 46 is paired to 34. While 55 and 61 is paired to 38. What do you think? The given is 1-to-1 or not? Based on the given definition while ago, that your y value is never paired to two different x values. Therefore, the given example is not 1-to-1 because 55 and 61 have the same output, partner, or pair, which is 38. So again, this function is not 1-to-1 because two different inputs, 55 and 61, have the same outputs of 38. What's more, determine whether a function is 1-to-1. We have given ordered pair -2, 6, -1, 3, 0, 2, 1, 5, and 2, 8. Is it 1-to-1 or not? This function is 1-to-1 because there are no two distinct inputs that correspond to the same output. Just look at the y values or the second number in the ordered pair. 6, 3, 2, 5, and 8. There is no number that appeared twice or repeated. Therefore, it is 1-to-1 function. Next, how about if the given is an equation? How can we determine if it is 1-to-1 or not? For example, f of x is equal to 2x minus 5. Given the definition, x sub 1 is equal to x sub 2. So, f of x sub 1 is equal to f of x sub 2. 2x sub 1 minus 5 is equal to 2x sub 2 minus 5. 2x sub 1 minus 5 plus 5 is equal to 2x sub 2 minus 5 plus 5. So we have 2x sub 1 is equal to 2x sub 2. So divided by 2, so we have cancel 2. So 2x sub 1 divided by 2 is equal to x sub 1. And 2x sub 2 divided by 2 is equal to x sub 2. Using the given function equals 2x sub 2 minus 5, we canceled out -5. So therefore, x sub 1 is equal to x sub 2. It means if they are equal, it is 1-to-1 function. It is easy to remember if 1-to-1 function if and only if the highest degree of your function is odd number. Like the given example, the degree of this polynomial or exponent is 1. So, odd number. Odd numbers like 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. Therefore, it is one-to-one function. This function is one-to-one. Next, how about this one? F of x equals x squared plus 3. Again, same process. X squared sub 1 plus 3 is equal to x squared sub 2 plus 3. We cancel 3. We have x squared sub 1 is equal to x squared sub 2. Using the square root method so that we can eliminate exponent 2 in x. We are going to use the square root method that will become positive and negative x sub 1. As you can see, we have two signs. Because of the different signs, the positive and the negative, it is not one-to-one function. Because if we substitute positive 2 and negative 2 to the value of x in the function f of x equals x squared plus 3, there is only one output, which is 7. It only means that we have two values of x but only one value of y, or the output or result. So based on the definition that the y values will never appear at two different x values, therefore, the given function is not one-to-one. It is also easy to determine if it is not one-to-one if and only if the degree of polynomial or the exponent or the highest exponent of x is even number. Even numbers like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. So this function is not one-to-one. Let's proceed to our next activity. Identify whether the given relation represents a function. If it is a function, determine whether it is one-to-one or not. The relation pairing an SSS member to his or her SSS number. What do you think? Is that a function or not? Yes, there is no SSS member with two SSS number. It will become invalid. So the relation is a function. At the same time, that is one-to-one function. Now, we will have the evaluation. I believe you have understood the lesson. Answer is to be written in a one whole sheet of paper. Letter A, determine whether each function is one-to-one or not. Number 1, f of x is equal to x plus 5. Number 2, g of x is equal to x to the power of 4 plus 3. Number 3, h of x is equal to 1 all over x minus 2. Number 4, p of x is equal to the absolute value of 2x minus 7. And number 5, t of x is equal to x to the power of 8 minus 2. Continuation. For letter B, represents real-life situations using one-to-one functions. Identify whether the given relation represents a function or not. If it is a function, determine whether it is one-to-one. Number 1, the relations pairing an airport to its airport code. Number 2, the relation pairing a person to his or her citizenship. And number 3, the relation pairing a distance d in kilometers traveled along the given tricycle route to the tricycle fare for traveling the distance. You will be scored with this rubric. Here are the answers to our evaluation. Number 1, one-to-one. Number 2, not one-to-one. Number 3, one-to-one. Number 4, not one-to-one. And number 5, not one-to-one. Here are the answers to our evaluation for letter B. Number 1, the relation is a function and the function is one-to-one. Number 2, the relation is not a function. And number 3, the relation is a function and the function is not one-to-one. This is the end of our lesson. Thank you for listening.